WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of the American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I'm in Scotland, better said I'm at Bladnoch, one of 6,000 bottles worldwide, the 17-year-old single malt lowland whiskey finished in Californian red wine casks. Non-chilled filtered, no color added, one of the most beautiful bottles out there at the moment, I do say myself. Heavy, really, really heavy. Now, whiskey base number 123009, if you're interested in that. 46.7% ABV. I'm going to work with a sample today, I'm sorry. Now, the distillery Bladnoch has had a very interesting history, to say the least. 1817 they were founded. 1993 basically they were dismantled. They were in the process of dismantling, and then another guy or couple came along, brothers from Ireland, if I'm correct. They were Raymond and Colin Armstrong. 2000 they managed to somehow get that distillery back up and running. It was dearly in need of money for investment, and it just didn't work out. And so they closed it about 9 years later in 2009. Finally, it was liquidated, I think, is what it's exactly happened in 2013 or so. And then along came a Australian guy named David Prior. He made his fortune, his millions, with the yogurt industry in Australia and the Pacific. And he bought the distillery after having no success in starting his own distillery someplace in Scotland due to various licensing agreements or reasons and zoning and whatever. So, David Prior found out that the distillery was in dire need of not just renovation but restoration. And so he threw out basically everything. New wash tubs, new pot stills. He went to 4 sites and said, hey, I need 2 new pot stills. They said, no problem, 4 years of delivery time. He said, well, can we expedite that somehow? And they were like, yeah, how much more are you willing to pay? And I think within a year later, he had his 2 little nice pot stills there with 13,500 and 10,000 liters each. They now have the capacity to produce 1.5 million liters a year if they're running full capacity, which they aren't. This is actually one of 6,000 bottles worldwide of the Bladnoch. It was distilled in 2001, and then in March of 2016, as well as January 2017, it was refilled into Californian Bordeaux red wine casks. Interesting. Ian McMillan was the guy who actually commissioned the new distillery for Bladnoch, got everything adjusted, everything set up right, and now they actually headhunted someone. I guess if you steal someone from Macallan, you're doing a fairly good job. Nick Savage, the guy from Macallan, will now, starting in July of 2019, be the head master distiller here at Bladnoch. Not bad. 17-year-old, 85 euros is what we paid for this over here in Germany. A friend of mine, Peter, from the Whiskey Turntable, actually did a review about this in German, and he was surprised at how hot this whiskey was. I'm going to compare it to this, one of the very few 17-year-old whiskeys I do have. This is a Craigellachie, 17-year-old single malt. I know it's a little bit different, but the price range is about the same, and the 17-year-old is what convinced me to do this. So this is not a wine finish. This is not a lowland whiskey. This is a very, very special Speyside single malt whiskey that I've actually fallen in love with a little bit more and more. If you've never had a good Craigellachie, the 17-year-old or even the 23-year-old are just out of this world. The 13-year-old is nice as well. So, the secret to this whiskey is very simple. Water. So, if I try this as it is, cheers, as they say in Scotland, slancha. Now, the nose is actually very, very huge. That red wine cask, just the fragrance is amazing. The aroma You're getting red wine, you're getting candy corn, you're getting cotton candy. It's sweet and it's red wine moments there. A little bit of the wood in the underneath there, a little bit of the cask, and the grain, the malted barley comes through, but it's red wine and candy corn, to be honest. And there's a little bit of that nice single malt Scotch spice in there. All right, so I'm going to nip on it. It's just plain old hot. If I'd be British, it's bloody hot. Now, the secret, and that's what you do when you learn how to work with a whiskey, is you learn where the sweet spot is. The sweet spot is not 46.7%. Why 46.7%? They wanted non-chilled. They want that the Americans can put their ice cubes in it and it will not turn cloudy. Now, I am an American, but I'm not putting any ice cubes in here. And so what I did is I tried to take it down to like exactly 42%. And it loses the edge and it really turns into a fantastic whiskey. Unfortunately, they did not do this themselves. One of the biggest markets for Bladnoch at the moment is still Germany, and Germans love to have their non-chilled, non-colored whiskeys, which I totally agree. Compass Box brings out 43% whiskeys all the time, non-chilled filtered. They get a little cloudy when it gets down below -5 degrees, but hey, who cares? They uncloud as soon as they warm back up. That's what would have been my suggestion for this. Bring it out at 43%, make sure it tastes exactly how you want it, and then everyone's happy. So now I'm going to say cheers. It is, for me, absolutely amazing how much a little bit of water can change a whiskey. It changes a whiskey from a hot, spicy, peppery into a smooth, which I don't want to use, a soft, velvety, sweet, red wine, malty, spicy moment of enjoyment. This is an excellent whiskey. This is a B minus, maybe even a B whiskey with water. Without water, it's a C minus, maybe C minus minus. A friend of mine, he works now for a distillery. When it's his job to pick out the strength of the bottling, he'll take it at cask strength and take it down either 1% from, let's say, 54 to 53 to 52 to 51 to 50, all the way down to 40%, and try the different whiskeys. And he always is amazed at how the whiskey changes with every single step in that path. Sometimes it's a very minute, and sometimes it's a massive change, especially if you go from 3 ABV points to the next. For you Americans, 6 proof points, and that really does amazing jobs here. Really just changing that whiskey into something which turns into a wonderful thing. Now, this is 46%. This is Craig Alachi. This is 17-year-old Speyside whiskey with a warm tub, a lot of copper contact, a lot of it's a whiskey that's Mortlach. It's a little bit oily. It's got a little bit more of a oomph to it. Yeah, it's not a beginner's whiskey at all. It's an intermediate whiskey. I'm not advanced yet, but it's an intermediate whiskey, I would assume. I do remember the first time I had it was like, okay, but now it's like, oh, nice. The finish. Do not talk and swallow at the same time, Jason. The finish is just fabulous. It's long. It's malty. It's not hot. It's spicy. There's all that spice, that barrel, that barley, that malt spice in there. It's got a little bit of a acidity. There's a little bit of acid in there, a little bit more of a grapefruit type of moment. But it's very clear. It's a very kind. It's a very, very clean whiskey as such, with depth, complexity, and with character. Over here, you have a nice whiskey that got a finish. Got a heavy finish as well. Nice nose. And what really surprises me here is that despite the water, that age comes through. In the back, there's this old, good wood that comes through, and you just go, that's nice. But it only gets there after you dilute it down a little bit more. You go way below 45, go down in the range of 43, and you're going to find this whiskey to be surprisingly good. Yeah, unfortunately, all my German friends did not play with water, and they all hated this whiskey, which I totally understand. I would hate it as well. If I go back to the cask strength here, or the bottle strength, I don't think the 46.7% is cask strength even after 17 years. It might just be. I'm going to play with my one little trick here. Keep a little bit of water in my mouth. Even that little bit of water really just did the trick. Makes it into a fantastic whiskey. But without it, it just got that edge. It's that sharpness. It's that peppery that's just not really there. So, WhiskyJason here. My question of the day is, what is your favorite 17-year-old whiskey? Think about it. What is your favorite 17-year-old whiskey? I know what my favorite is. If you know me a little bit better, you're going to find this very, very amusing. If you don't know me, you're going to be, oh yeah. My favorite 17-year-old whiskey is, you know what yours is? Eagle Rare 17. Haha! Over here, about $700 secondary market. Unbelievably expensive. But it was one of my favorite bourbons ever in my lifetime. Much better than Pappy or anything else I've ever had. Personal experience. Alright, thank you very much for watching. Please like, please subscribe, please tell others about this crazy American over here in Germany tasting. Rare, exotic, hard to get, things you'll never ever find probably, but that's what I like to do. All the best. See you tomorrow. My videos come out, or see you on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Bye.